Hello and welcome back to Exotic Gardening UK. Now I know I talk about the weather quite a lot in my videos, but that's really important because of how it affects how plants grow and what can grow in my location in the north of England. But it's definitely worth talking about just for a few moments from the last week. We have had huge contrasts in the last week. We've had some of the hottest days of the summer and the hottest days we ever get, like 30 degrees on a couple of afternoons. Really warm evenings and nights as well. We've also had some torrential downpours and drizzle, thunderstorms. We have had hailstones and ice, believe it or not, up to about 2 centimetres across, which has not done too much damage in my garden, thankfully. But in local area around here, we've had most people's conservatory roofs have been damaged with like bullet holes through of the hailstones have hit. And luckily, my garage roof, or soon to be garage roof, of polycarbonate, I've not put on yet, so that's not been damaged, thankfully. And today we've got to contend with the very blustery weather we've got. It's really windy, so I'm going to talk about in this episode having shelter in the garden and why that's really important for some tender plants. And also we'll see that because of this wind in some areas of the garden, bamboo shoots have been damaged that have been emerging because of the really blustery winds, and also some of the musabaju leaves as well. Right, on with today's episode. I just want to talk to you about shelter for a minute. It's an extremely windy day, but this area of the garden is pretty sheltered, mainly by the bamboo hedge behind it. But if we look up above that, you can see the trees in the distance moving about a lot. It's proper windy. It's just calming down a little now. It's an extremely windy day. You can hear that noise, the wind's coming through. But in the garden, the bananas looking okay. The Musa stichimentis hasn't got any ripped leaves in this area. But if we look up over there, we've got the large bamboo that's getting blown about because there's no shelter really behind it because it's got so tall now. And same with the trachycarpus that's got very tall over there. But over here, where the gunnerat is, and these palm trees and these shepherds, it's nice and sheltered, so even on very windy days there's not too much damage. So one group of plants that don't mind the windy conditions like we're having today are the arid plants that I'm growing. So we've got the Desilarion here, and that has long leaves, quite robust, and we've also got the yuccas here, like this Yucca faxonia. And we've got a palm tree, the European farm palm, Chimerops humilis here. And what they all have in common is, like I said, they've got these quite rigid leaves, and they're also pretty hard to the touch, quite fine, and the wind can just blow straight through these without damaging them at all. And we've also got, just over there, got another yucca, the Yucca rostrata, that grows very tall. And again, that's a big head of fine leaves. And like I said, because they're quite thick, the leaves as well, they can deal with drought conditions because they're not allowing water to evaporate off them too quickly or to transpire out of the leaves too quickly. And they can hold on to the water because they're quite thick leaves. But the wind going through them will not desiccate them too much as well. So they're fantastic if you've got an exposed spot, maybe near the coast, or like I am, quite high up and exposed to the southwest here, when the winds can just come in all year round and batter this part of the garden. So just in front of me we have this quite spectacular flowering plant, and this is Geranium palmatum, which comes from the Canary Islands. This is basically grown from a very small plant last year. It was planted out, it was just in like a 9 centimetre pot, grown really well over last summer, and then this spring it got really large and sent out absolutely loads and loads of stems full of these bright pink flowers that go all the way around the plant but not in the centre. And it's over 2 meters wide now, with the flowers coming out in all directions. And this is very similar to another giant geranium from Madeira, which is the Geranium madrense, and that has more vivid pink flowers, and they come more from the centre like a huge big mushroom and out like that. But palmatum, the flowers come around the outside, and they also don't have a red tinge to the green leaves, unlike the Madeiran one, which has a red tinge. So this is a spectacular plant. It will self-seed about the garden, and it's a bit like the European herb Robert that we have, but it gets much bigger, as you can see. And also, as well as self-seeding, the palmatum one will come back. It'll last several years and it will grow year after year. But the Geranium madeirense dies after flowering, so it'll grow big over a year or two, flower in second or third year, and then die and self-seed. Whereas the palmatum should go on for many years to come. Here's a nice little bit of easy propagation to do. I bought some lemongrass from the supermarket about 4 weeks ago now, and all I did was basically put it in a glass of water, and now 4 weeks later I've got absolutely masses of nice healthy roots, so I can just pot this up into some nice multi-purpose compost, and this will grow away rapidly over summer, and I have lots of lemongrass throughout the summer and autumn that I can use in cooking. And I have changed its water every day to stop it going stale and a bit mouldy. And you can see just at the base there you've got the fresh new lemongrass shoots coming off as well, so this will make a nice clump over summer, and it's very easy to do. Here we have the first dahlia flower of the year. It's grown on a plant that just emerged only a couple of months out of the ground. Very dark leaves, and this has come back for about 3 or 4 years now, no trouble whatsoever. I'm really pleased the flowering season has begun for the dahlias. Now, people always talk about bamboos and that they run and spread everywhere, and that is the case for the majority of bamboos, and that's why most people will contain them or simply not grow the spreading ones. But the spreading ones contain most of the popular bamboos and easiest to buy at supermarkets and DIY centres and things like that. Obviously specialist nurseries sell the choice species as well. But as you can see in this example, which is Phylostachys, and Phylostachys bamboo, by the way, they all spread. Some may stay as a nice clump for 5, 10, 15 years, but eventually they will wander and send out shoots just underneath the ground level that'll come out many metres away. And you can see in this example, Phylostachys Shanghai 3, that we've got the main plants over there, and this year has spread about a metre or so, and you can see all these runners down here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 runners or culms growing this season. But if I just pull at this end, you can see it's just at or just underneath the surface. If I just pull all this, you can see it comes up relatively easy, because there's not too much root there yet. I could divide this, cut it off down here and make new plant, or I can just remove this, and I think I will remove these 4 shoots, leave the ones behind, because it's encroaching on the play area, and this area that I want to keep clear for a cabin in the future. So you need to watch these all year round really. You can get a trench and dig a trench around these, or you can put a physical barrier when you plant these so they can't spread. But eventually they will find a way either under or over or through any barrier that you put in. Just a matter of time really. That's Phylostachys bamboos and also some of the other bamboos we get, but the ones that are clump forming, Varieties and the Verindas, stay more of a clump. There might be a very large clump, but they won't send out runners right across your garden. So that is clumping bamboo Shanghai 3 that I'm going to deal with today. Thank you for watching this edition of Exotic Gardening UK. Join me next week where I'll be doing more in the garden.